How to balance healthy eating with a social life. Is healthy eating incompatible with having a social life, a pretty active social life? Short answer, no. So how can you make sure that you are balancing both your social life and indulging in things that you enjoy, both food-wise, drink-wise, otherwise, and also make sure that you are eating in a healthy, balanced way, building a healthy relationship with food, and just doing the best you can for your body to stay in optimal health. And no, my tips are not going to include bringing your own meal, your own healthy dinner when you go to a friend's house, or eating an apple before you go eat at a restaurant in order to fill you up so you don't eat as much. Don't worry, it's not gonna be that. The first thing you need to do is you need to figure out your healthy eating base, and this should be your kind of default way of eating, that you should eat this way whenever you're not involved in like your social life. So I have a bunch of videos to help you figure out what this should look like. You can start with my healthy eating for beginners video right here or in the description. But basically you want to be eating mainly whole foods, so plenty of whole grains, plenty of beans and legumes, lean protein, healthy fats like nuts and seeds, and you also want to be eating a bunch of fruit and vegetables and drinking plenty of water. And you also want to really be focusing on enjoying the meals that you're eating. They need to bring you satisfaction, and that is extremely important, because if you're not satisfied with your healthy eating base, then you're going to eat way more than necessary on the nights that you go out or like eat with friends or order in or any of that. So you really need to work on finding recipes and meals that are both healthy and balanced and include foods that you really like and foods that you enjoy and that bring you emotional satisfaction. And where like before you eat, you're like, oh, I'm excited to eat this meal, and then when you're done, you're like, okay, I feel really good after eating this meal. This was nice, satisfying. Figuring out your healthy eating base also involves meal planning to a certain extent. So this doesn't mean that you have to actually meal prep and have every single one of your weekly meals ready in a container. I mean, you can do that, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But I would really suggest that you have a general idea of the meals that you're going to be having throughout the week. Make sure that you have the ingredients on hand, and then working on being more mindful with the way you eat is also a very important part of building this like healthy eating base. And I have an entire playlist on mindful and intuitive eating to help you out right here or in the description. So again, this way of eating should really be the default mode, and you need to get really comfortable in this way of eating in order to then be able to eat out, like enjoy your social life to the fullest. And you know that it's not really gonna have a huge impact on you because you know that your base is really strong, like the foundations of healthy eating for you are really strong, and that you're gonna go right back to that when you're done with that night out or that restaurant or that whatever. The second thing you want to do is you want to get rid of the all or nothing mentality. So what is the all or nothing mentality? Well, basically it's getting yourself into this mindset that if you don't eat perfectly, then you might as well not even try. And so on the days where you can't have your perfect little salad and water and apple for dessert, well, you might as well have the entire pizza plus brownie plus a few cocktails, you know, because now that you're at it, you might as well. For a lot of people suffering from this all or nothing mentality, going out is really difficult because they aren't able to just enjoy one appetizer they like, or have like one cocktail, or have like one dessert, because every time they have a little amount of these kind of treat foods, they feel like they are losing control and that they have failed their diet and that the day is ruined, and so they might as well just go all in and have like whatever they want, and then the next day they can just go back to their salad. So you can see how this can be a big barrier to having a social life and still balancing your food out. If every time you go out you feel like you have to go all in because you're unable to have just a little bit of whatever it is that you want. So it's very important that you work on getting rid of this all or nothing mentality, and that you look at the logical reasoning behind it and be like, no, it's obviously not better for my body to have Coke and this entire pizza and all these appetizers and all this dessert, all this ice cream, just because I had a few chips with a cocktail. Like, I know that this takes work, and I have an entire video to help you get out of this all or nothing mentality right here if you're interested, or in the description. And then to go along with getting rid of this all or nothing mentality, it's important that you work on not feeling food guilt. So not feeling guilt anytime you eat something that is not your idea of like something healthy or that you see as a treat. Food should be seen as both a way to fuel your body and give it nutrients and contribute to its health, but also as a way to enjoy yourself and satisfy your cravings, satisfy your emotional hunger, and all of these things. Food should be an enjoyment and a pleasure and not a chore. So if you're able to see food more in this way, then it's going to help you be okay with having a cookie or an appetizer or pizza or whatever it is that you want when you have like this social life, when you're actively going out or eating out or having a drink with friends or any of these things. It's going to be okay because you know that that is part of eating too. It's part of this balance. It's part of the enjoyment and satisfaction and social pleasure that food brings. Again, I have an entire video on food guilt and how to get rid of food guilt if you're interested, that you can check out right here or in the description. It's also very important to work your social events into your meal planning. So if you're a person who has a very active social life all year round, then that's fine, but you definitely do need to take that into account when you're planning your meals. So make sure that you kind of plan your meals around that and you're including your kind of social life treats into your regular meal planning. Like if you know that you're going to go out and have appetizers and drinks on a Thursday night, then it's not the best day to also order in pizza. You can make sure that you have a meal that's a little bit more balanced with some more whole foods and then save the pizza for another night. If you have plans to go out to eat on Saturday for lunch, then maybe you can do that new vegetable and quinoa recipe that you've been wanting to try. Do that for the Saturday evening. That's gonna go well with that. It's gonna bring some balance to the day. If you drink a ton of alcohol on a Friday, make sure that you stick to mainly water on Saturday. Whatever it is, you need to make sure that these social events are accounted for. And this doesn't mean that you have to know every single time you're gonna go out and every single thing you're gonna eat when you're out. Of course not, but just have this general idea in mind of on the days where you do go out, here's how you can kind of balance that out. You can also try to balance things out when you're actually going out. So for instance, I know that I eat out quite a lot. I go to restaurants a lot. I have a pretty active social life. And before, when I didn't do that, every time I would go to a restaurant, I would kind of go all in. So I would go for the appetizer, the starter, the huge dish, and then the dessert and like the cocktails. And this was because I was like, okay, I'm not having this experience a lot, so I want to get like the full experience. But now that I'm going out to eat multiple times a week, I don't need to do that every single time. I don't need to get dessert every single time. I don't need to get pasta every single time. I can just have some veggies and tofu and be fine. I basically treat these kind of restaurant meals as any other meal, so I just try to have them be balanced and I don't overeat more than I would if I was at home. And this is something, again, that I do because I eat out a lot. But if you don't eat out a lot, again, it's also okay to live that experience to the fullest, but then you just need to look for balance in other ways. The key is really not to rely on like these healthy eating swaps and being like, okay, if I'm going out, then I'm gonna swap the pasta for the zoodles, or I'm gonna swap the cocktail for water. You need to figure out what brings you the most joy and then keep that in, and then find the balance with the other foods. Like if you're a huge chocolate dessert fan, there's no need in getting the healthified swap of that and getting this like black bean cacao cake. Just get the regular cake. And then instead of having the appetizer and the pizza and the cocktails, you can work on that a little bit and find the balance there. It's also very important that you adapt your eating to the context of your social life. Let me explain. So obviously the guidelines are going to be different if you are only spending like one night out, if you're spending like the entire weekend like with friends out or whatever, or if you're in like this 2-week all-inclusive holiday where it's like all you can eat. So here's how I would deal with each situation. So first situation, only one night out. In that situation, I would totally not focus on balancing things out or eating healthy or having like the healthier alternative. It's one night, you can enjoy, focus on the social aspect. This doesn't mean that you have to binge on everything that you find, of course not, but it does mean that it's one night out and you're here to have fun. It's okay to let loose and not be obsessed with balancing everything the night of, trying to healthify everything and trying to find like the healthiest option. It's just going to be a moment where you enjoy your night with your friends, have a nice time, eat the food that you like, drink the drinks that you want to drink, and you can totally balance that out the day after, no problem. If we're looking at the second option, so meaning you are spending like a whole weekend, let's say with friends, and you're just going to be eating a bunch of easy meals, maybe lots of fast food, maybe lots of eating out, maybe drinking a lot. So I would definitely focus on enjoying this time and enjoying whatever activity that this entails and kind of filling up your jar of emotional satisfaction in both food and other aspects. So that's definitely the main priority. But I would also try to sneak in some elements to balance things out a little bit, maybe some like healthy food options just in an easy way. So you can have the cake for dessert maybe, but then try to have some fruit as a snack. Or you can totally have alcohol to start off your night, but then make sure that you drink water with your lunch. Or maybe you really want to order a like super cheesy and meaty pizza with no veggies on it, absolutely fine, but maybe have some raw veggies as a starter. The key with these little things is that they really add up. And while you don't want to be focusing on them too much, again, that's not the main goal of the weekend, it is easy to just sneak in a few little things, and then at the end of the weekend, it's going to have made a little difference. And finally, if we're looking at option number 3 and you are in this like all-inclusive, all-you-can-eat like vacation for 2 weeks or anything that kind of resembles that, then you need to work on finding a new temporary balance when it comes to eating. So you may not be eating like 80% healthy balanced meals like you usually do, and that's fine if you can get to a like 65-35 balance. That is already pretty good. If you let yourself enjoy food throughout the year without restricting, then you won't really need to go all in, and you won't need to be like, oh, I need to make sure that I eat all of these treats and all of this food because the second I go back from my vacation, I'm gonna go back to eating my salads. But obviously it's normal if you have like a little bit more of a desire to eat more than what you usually do because you're excited for these new food options and you're on vacation and you're relaxing. Or also if you want to eat more like treat foods because again, there are more options, things that you don't have access to all the time when you're at home living your regular life. So it's totally normal that your eating is going to go up a little bit. That's fine, but it shouldn't drastically change. It shouldn't be you binging on everything that you can set your eyes on for every single day straight for 2 weeks and then being like, it's fine, I'll just go on a diet when I come home. That's not what you should be doing. It's important to find a way to balance your diet out in the way that bothers you the least and gives you like the most reward. Like for instance, say that for you a bottomless brunch and mimosas is like something that you look forward to so much, then you don't have to compromise on that. That's fine. But then maybe for the dinner following that brunch, then you can have something a little lighter, maybe some more whole foods, some whole grains, plenty of veggies, plenty of water. So I gave this example of this 2-week vacation, but it can be any time that you feel like you're gonna have a social life that is very active, more active than usual, and where you're gonna be doing lots of things that you don't usually do in terms of food or drinking or not taking care of your body, like not sleeping, not exercising, all of these things. So in this situation, find a new balance that works and that makes you still enjoy the time that you're having, but also focus on being mindful of your body and its needs. For most people, these steps don't come naturally immediately. You do have to work through them, and then you'll be able to get to a place where it does come a little more naturally. As time goes on, you'll be able to think of balance not in like this outside sense of you trying to think about how you can balance your meals, but more from like this internal perspective. What is your body telling you? What is your body craving? So that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.